Well, hello everybody. Welcome back to the video channel of Electric Avenue. Just running through my weekly new releases here, giving you a couple of tidbits to chew on a little bit. So let me just jump in with new releases. And first of all, I want to do a couple of recaps. One is The Killers' new album, Pressure Machine. I mentioned this last week. It's sold really, really well. I think it's probably their best record since Hot Fuss, in my opinion. It's a great storytelling record. There's guest appearances by Phoebe Bridgers. Um, it's just a little more personal than Brandon sometimes gets in his songs, even if they're not really personal necessarily to him. It kind of paints the picture of the sort of areas that he grew up in, and if you're from some of those places, you know what he's talking about. Sort of people who have big dreams that maybe don't always get fulfilled. So, hey, this record, White Denim, Crystal Bullets, the reason I'm showing this is that I showed it a couple weeks ago when it first came out, and it was billed as a two-sided 12-inch single. And nobody really was that interested until word got out that it was actually their entire album on colored vinyl. And now they're super limited and going, and that may be even gone by the time this video gets out there. But if you know who White Denim are, they were the band that sort of kind of helped discover Leon Bridges, played on his first album as his backing band. So, anyway, that's their new record. All right, so big new record this week, Lorde, Solar Power. This is not a censored cover. The sticker, it's a sticker on the outside of the record jacket. It's not on the record. Um, well, what can I say? I think it's one of the biggest albums of the summer to look forward to. It's her first in 3 years. I think along with Billie Eilish, probably one of the most anticipated records of the summer. And another one that came out early this summer and is finally out on vinyl today is Olivia Rodrigo with Driver's License, the big hit. Very talented. So those, I think, especially if you're like, I don't want to like peg the teenagers, but I think that those are kind of like things that they're really into, and adults too. I probably had more men in their 50s by Billie Eilish than kids. So go figure. Other things this week: new Chrissy Hynde singing songs of Bob Dylan, Standing in the Doorway. That's kind of an interesting project, and the fact that it's billed under her name instead of the Pretenders. Interesting. GA20. This is Karma Chief's label, well, division of Coal Mine Records. And if you liked the new Black Keys record, which was sort of blues covers, this is a very similar, two guys banging out Hound Dog Taylor songs. So that might be sort of interest for people. Shannon and the Clams, speaking of Black Keys, this is produced by Dan Auerbach on his label Easy Eye Sound. Really liked her. Well, I liked their last band record. I loved her solo record. So if you're into kind of retro blues rock, it's great stuff. Trey Anastasio band's new release. It's kind of heavy. It's a 3 record set, pushing over $50. Fish fans, what can I say? 40,000 of you showed up in Atlantic City for a concert. I guess you're out there. So, hey, good time to be a Fish fan. And then just some random sorts of reissues here. We got Dawes. This is their first record. That's sort of a limited. Some of these might not even be here by the time you guys get here. Not gonna lie, because we didn't have too many of them come in. Allman Brothers, Shades of Two Worlds. That's on Friday Music. Belly B-Sides collection on Run Out Groove, 90s band. Typo Negative, also on Run Out Groove. Slow, Deep, and Hard. Can't show that for too long. And Goodfellas soundtrack. Tony Bennett's on there. Classic movie. And then there's some jazz stuff this week of note. We have John Coltrane's Another Side of Coltrane. This is songs or pieces that he did with Miles Davis, Sonny Rollins, Art Taylor, Thelonious Monk. So jazz people will love that. Also, Blue Note Classic series. They have the Tone Poet series and then the Classic series. The Classics are usually a little bit cheaper. They're all cut by Kevin Gray, around $25. There's Kenny Burrell's Midnight Blue and Grant Green's Idle Moments, which are albums that are highly praised in the Blue Note catalog. Looks like Blue Note is raising their price point on this series starting next month. They'll be around 30 instead of 25, so everything's going up, right? And then the big jazz thing of the week, I don't have too many people ordering this, but is the Lee Morgan box set. This is complete live at the Lighthouse, 12 records, 1970, $350. And if you're not into on that level, there's a 5 CD box for $90. Okay, for more passive fans who are like, I don't need all that on vinyl. Yeah, so that's pretty much most of the stuff. I just wanted to cover a couple of other things. You know, speaking of prices and stuff like that, I noticed that there's a lot of stuff that's being imported from Europe now, and that's all gone way up in price. They just can't get things made in America enough. 60% of what we are selling new in the US right now is coming from Europe. And they used to come on passenger planes in the cargo holds. Now they're being placed in shipping containers and shipped over, so it slows everything down. And when we used to be able to get things faster, and all this process costs more money. The reason for that is people aren't really flying overseas as much, and so they can't use the passenger planes for those things. I don't know if part of it is Brexit. Some things like Joy Division, still, an import double album, $51. Seems a little steep, but understandable because it's an import. But then New Order just raised the price of, or their record company did, of Low Life from $29 to $51. And that's a single album. This is a double. So then you start questioning, well, what's the reasoning with some of this? And I don't know if it's them that raise it or the distributors that raise it based on the costs that they're having to pay. That's a question for them, I suppose. But there's a lot of problems with using colored vinyl. Everybody wants colored vinyl now. That whole process raises the price of vinyl because you have to clean the plates in between all of that. That takes hours of time, slows down the process. When if we just had black vinyl, it wouldn't be such an issue. It's harder sourcing the colored vinyl to make the records, and whatever they use to bind the records costs more. So there's so many hidden costs in some of these things, and sometimes it seems sort of arbitrary as to what is raised. And you know, it used to be we could get things like Depeche Mode's Violator in the US off and on for about $22 or so. Imports are $40. So, and the import's the only thing that is even like remotely available right now. So, gotta apologize for that stuff. It's sort of out of our control, and whatever we have to charge is based on whatever we're paying for things. So, it's more a handful of things than across the board, but when you consider how much stuff has to be imported. I mean, America just got caught off guard and didn't have enough pressing plants, had shuttered a lot of them, and to make all of this equipment, it just takes time. And then on side notes, more, I guess, more personal stuff. Thank you to all of you who have been reaching out and saying, like, we're sorry about your cat. My cat is today still breathing and alive, but you know, it's been a rough year. We've spent thousands of dollars trying to figure out that she didn't have cancer, only to find out that she does have cancer. So, and she's really bonded to my wife, who many of you knew as someone who worked with me for years and years and hasn't been able to work for a few years due to a medical condition. So this cat and she are sort of like bonded at this point. So it's very rough on her having to deal with not only a sick cat, but seeing her buddy go through so much pain. So thank you for all of those well wishes. Finally, I just want to also relay a personal story that kind of relates to the business. And it just shows kind of, I keep talking about how generous and kind people have been through this whole thing, and I don't usually like airing the negative side, but it's sort of an ugly little story that I want to share. We had some work being done in our backyard recently by a company that we had no idea what was going on. And they were driving all across our lawn and parking their equipment right by our bedroom window. And there's a host of like infractions on personal or private property or whatever is supposed to be our property. And we have homeowners association, so we sent them a letter saying, or an email saying, what gives? Why are you guys doing this work without letting us know? The next thing we know, one of our neighbors is on Facebook, basically calling whichever neighbor out, which was us, saying how they were so upset that they were turned in for trying to do a job that was good for the neighborhood, and they received a violation from the homeowners association because they did not have it cleared. Well, we felt sort of personally attacked because we were also the ones that had already had their domicile used to have some of this job done. And so we tried to set the record straight and clear the air and say, you know, it's unfortunate that you got the violation, but maybe you should have let your neighbors know what was going on. We just assumed it was, once again, the homeowners association doing these things. All right, the reason I'm telling this story is because after all of this kind of dust settled, within the next couple hours, I start seeing negative reviews popping up, 1-star reviews on my Google page, saying things like, Erin was really unhelpful when I was in the store, and many of you would know, well, she has not worked in the store in 4 years, so when the name is something like Ben Franklin, you start questioning. And then there's another one that pops up, another name, and we're talking like we haven't received a 1-star review in the 8 years that we've been here. So it was very fishy that a couple of them came up just like that. And I started replying and flagging things as like bullying and what, and then I'm like, I wonder if it could be my neighbors. And it turns out that investigating the profile, that one of the reviews that they had left 3 days earlier for another company was the one that had done the work in our backyard, in their backyard. And it wasn't really even, I mean, they say it was on their property line, fine, but it looks like it's common property from where it was. Anyway, that all of that aside, the fact that, you know, someone who's supposed to be your nice neighbor would go out and they would have had to look up our Facebook profiles, find out where we worked, personally attack us, defame our character, try to undermine our future income, and, you know, it's very unsettling and disturbing that these people are out there. And as far as I know, they have not cleared one of the reviews. One of them, Facebook took, or Google took down because they actually realized that it was bogus. Whether or not they'll figure the other one out is another question. But anyway, I just wanted to put that out there and say, you know, if anyone wants to write a positive Google review, I really would appreciate that. I mean, it would you all probably know it's difficult to get your numbers up more than it is to have them come down, and very hurtful. And I hope that if they are watching this or do watch this, that they realize that we were completely innocent in this whole thing, and for the fact that they cross the line and choose to attack us in our own business sort of way, just because it happens to be a public business. Very uncool. All right, I'm running out of time. I hate ending on a negative note. Thank you all again very much, and hope to see you at some point in time. Be careful as you're all going back to school and such this fall because, you know, it's the same old story, right? Okay, take it easy. We love you guys. Bye.